Thank you very much, everybody, for this hopefully nice presentation. It's guide your business towards logical model. Indeed, it has been some time since I've been here last time. I think it has been in 2018, and I remember we had one during COVID, I guess, where Hans and I did a presentation together, which was great fun. And for those of you who don't know me, who I am Remco Broekmans. I work for Genesee Academy, although the Dutch tax authority thinks that I'm self-employed in the Netherlands. But basically, I work for Genesee Academy. We are a worldwide recognized organization delivering training. I'm one of the trainers. I'm also officially Vice President International Programs, which means together with Hans Hultgren, I run the company. We are doing data vault training mainly, and something which I'm very happy with that we are doing in training on what we call business mapping and Elm, and it's basically how to work with business together to come towards a, let's say, logical data model. So I'm a data modeler as well. I'm a coach. I'm coaching teams. I'm Dutch, living near Rotterdam. I love to do rock climbing. Living in the Netherlands, mainly indoor rock climbing. Due to some injuries in my elbow and my knee, not much rock climbing nowadays. I do some walking, and since very, very recent, if my thing is going to happen, I'm an author. I wrote a book. It's published February 18. So it's very, very recent, and it's called From Stories to Solution. And I think the subtitle says it all. It's redefining communication between business and data professionals. And I'm going to do a little bit about talking about what the book is all about, of course. Christian mentioned John Giles. I like John Giles. I met the guy, had a great day together. We also had some discussions online. And when I was last time talking, we were talking about his last book, Elephant in the Fridge. Of course, data vault modeling, that's fun part. And now he has a new one, The Elephant in the Boardroom. And I read it, and he read my book, and we both came to the conclusion that both books are complementary to each other. So we both have the same goal. We both want to encourage communication with business people and data professionals to come to, John Giles says, a data town plan. I say to a data model, which you can, from an IP perspective, called a logical data model. So we both have the same kind of ideas, and they both work together. So I'm trying to be there in July as well when John Giles doing his presentation. Fun fact, if everything is correct, then I will be in Australia listening to John Giles talking in European time. So it will be some kind of a mindfuck, I guess. But for me, from my perspective, what I'm always trying to do is always trying to find a balance. What is the focus? What's the business talking about? Where are we talking about? Are they talking about something called organisms? Or are they talking about plants or trees? Or are they talking about the stem or the branch or the twig or the leaves? In other words, we need to find the exact spot of the business part where they're talking about, right? So we need to use that terminology. I found out, and I'm an old guy. I'm doing this work for 25 plus years nowadays. Before I had some other careers, but I found that on the IT side, we always try to think to be flexible and agile, and we learned to kind of generalize, abstract information. So if I see this nice elm tree, I would say, from a modeling perspective, let's call it an organism, because if someone comes up with a shrubbery instead of a tree, it can still fit in the same part. Or if someone says, oh, we have a microbe, still fits in the same spot because it's also an organism. that seems to be very, very flexible. That kind of generalized idea, or abstract idea from an IT perspective, it looks, feels, and seems very, very flexible. At the same token, it doesn't mean anything if you don't add extra information to it to make it really, really worthwhile and understanding what it is. And also, if the business is talking about trees or branches or twigs, and you come up with something called an organism, they said, what do you mean with an organism? He said, yeah, if I'm looking at the actual information, then I see that the organism is a tree, and basically it's a part of a tree, which is a stem. So you need to add more and more to it to understand what it is. And my perspective, and a lot of people in the world agree with me, like John Giles, indeed. We talked a little bit about the book from Dirk Lerner and Woodland Vos, which is coming. They're also on the same page. Shane Gibson from New Zealand, also on the same stuff. From a dimensional world, Lawrence Core is also, you need to talk business language. You need to model business language. To give you an example, and this is from a post I did last year, January, I guess. And my idea was, I have a very simple business case, and I didn't give the business case, I only give the actual model. But the business case was Remco, so me, I had an appointment in the hospital to talk to a doctor, and I was diagnosed with a groin rupture. Don't do it, it's very painful. It takes, especially the healing process, when they did the surgery, no fun. From a modeling perspective, right, my brain is starting to work. Okay, if this is the business case, I need to do some inking over here. If this is the business case, I can translate this to what is really important out of the business case. Well, Remco, appointment, hospital, doctor, diagnosis, groin rupture. I always like to understand what is Remco, what's an appointment, what's a hospital. So from our ELM approach, and we'll talk about it a little bit later, we go and categorize those things in events, person, place, thing, or something else. So I can say Remco is a person, appointment is a event, hospital is a place, doctor is a person, the diagnosis and the groin rupture are things. If I would model it and I would do it on this abstracted level, what some people said, ooh, these are nice abstraction, then I come up with a model looking like this: event, person, place, thing. And this is actually the model I put on my post and said, what does this model tell me? And I was quite surprised, because I got a lot of comments and a lot of impressions, and it was skyrocketing. Still, by the way, I got information, people reacting on it, and it said, you cannot tell what it is if you don't know the business. And I think, okay, this is exactly what is wrong with a data model. If you need to know the business and need to know the business case to translate this model into the business case, you're doing something wrong. Because why do we create a new data model? Why do I do data modeling? To support what the business needs. So if we need to translate that business case into a model, we need to use that same terminology. Because give you another example, Remco is hospitalized into bed in the hospital room by a nurse. So the first stage before I went into surgery, Remco hospitalized, bed, hospital room, etc. If I'm going to model it from the same perspective, event, place, person, thing. And people said, yeah, it still doesn't tell me. You need to add more information to it. So I said, okay, cool. Then I'm going to do what we learned when you go into, well, there are a lot of data modeling books, right? That you need to add roles and types to it, and role plays and type it. Okay, cool. I an event, and that's of a different type. There's a thing which are a type, location as a type, person. There are two different roles for that person related to that event and that role. It still doesn't mean anything. This model can be from anything. It could be indeed for me being hospitalized and having the diagnosis. It could also easily be an employee and an ordering stuff. There can be a lot of stuff. So the model is not clear enough. my approach, and that's what's in the book, and that is, it's in the same line as Lawrence Core is saying, what John Giles is saying, is okay, let's take that business case and let's start modeling. And my modeling is just, again, I use the same stuff. I'm just writing down the same information. But the cool thing is, this is work I really do with business people. And whenever there's next sentence coming in, I'm just adding the new information. And the next thing, what I'm doing in a workshop together with business people is to say, okay, cool. What is it? Is it an event, a person, a place, a thing, or something else? Dear business, dear people in my workshop, can you tell me what Remco is? Is Remco an event, a person, a place, a thing, or not a concept? And you soon come to the conclusion, well, Remco basically is an instance of a patient. He's not a, well, he's a person, but he's representing an instance of a patient, just like a groin rupture is representing an instance of a diagnosis. All the other stuff was, well, bad is something which on discussion, come to that later. But the rest is really straightforward. Appointment, yeah, that's an event. Something is happening, it's an event. The hospital is a place, a doctor is a person, diagnosed is a thing, instance of a diagnosis, okay. Hospitalized is also another event. We have a nurse as a person, hospital room is a place. Bad is something different. There was discussion on what a bad is. And again, this is just for me almost like every single business concept, every single term, you can see it's kind of a marble and you have to put it in one bucket. And it can be in one bucket only. And the bucket is either an event, a person, a place, a thing, or something else that this is very important to know more about. So it's more really like a category, not the abstraction level.
Remco, can you have a look? There's something at the bottom of your screen that says Teams is sharing your screen. Can you hide it?
Oh, I can hide it. Yeah. Sorry.
Okay,
again,
perfect. Thank you.
Team is not my friend. Okay. It's hidden now, so we can go over here, right? So now we have the same stuff like we had before, right? This one, but I added, say, oh, I need to have a patient, and I still have a discussion on what a bad is. Where are we? Oh yeah, here we are. So Remco, I graded out. I added a patient to it, and patient is a person. Groin rupture graded out because instant diagnosis, we already had that one. And interestingly enough, I asked, and this is really a real life example. I had a groin rupture, but also I work for a healthcare organization. And I asked people in the workshop that, okay, what's the bad? Is it an event, person, place, thing, or something else? And someone says, it's a place. Another one says, it's a thing. And then you have a fun discussion to say, okay, why does one person say it's a place, the other one says it's a thing? And the one saying it's a place, well, it's a place. Actually, it's a place in the hospital room where you could put a bed, but there should not even be a bed in anyway. It could not been placed yet, but you should be able to place a bed. But it's a location in the hospital room where we can fit a bed, and there's oxygen and other gases, and monitors can be hooked up. So that's the physical location. That's what we in the hospital world, in the healthcare world, call a bed. And the other one says, well, he had more to do with housekeeping and maintenance. He says, well, actually, a bed is something which has a barcode on it. There are wheels under it. There's a mattress on top of it, and we need to maintain it. We need to make sure that it doesn't beep when you're walking around, so you need to grease it and all kind of stuff. So we came up for a bed. Wait a minute, there are two different. I want to have that marble for a bed into two different buckets, which cannot happen because you can only do it in one. And then we said, let's use the term bed for the place, the actual location in the hospital room, and have the other one called physical bed. How do we know? Because we came up with what is the definition. I asked them, what is it? What are you doing? And I think also something I really described in my book is that data modelers or trying to need to be curious. You need to ask questions. You need to just ask questions about What do you mean? Can you explain this to me? All the kind of questions you need to have in order to create the correct model. In the end, if I translate the other one to a model, I can see I have two events, hospitalized and appointment. An appointment could result in a diagnosis. There are a patient and a doctor needed in the hospital for the appointment, etc., etc., etc. This model is easy to communicate. If I'm showing this model to anybody, everybody can understand. I see hospital, doctor, patient, appointment, diagnosis, hospitalized, room. This probably has something to do with healthcare. And I can even understand what it is if I'm looking a little bit longer to it. The other thing on this part, which I kind of nicked from my good friend Marco Wobbe from Case Talk. If you know FCOEM, fact-based oriented modeling, it's all about the facts. And basically what one of the big things they're doing is to write down full sentences. What is happening? What is the actual fact? And said, the better you can describe it, the better it is. I'm a data vault guy, so we store our relationships into links, the green boxes. And I was thinking about, instead of using the technical names, what I did 2 decades ago, or a little bit more functional term, which I did still a couple of years ago, I just now nicked it from him to say, what if I'm just going to use a full sentence, just like FCOEM is doing, to say, what do I mean with this relationship? Well, this relationship over here says a patient has an appointment with a doctor in the hospital. I don't think anybody is misunderstanding what do we mean with this relationship table, this relationship entity. What do we mean with it? Well, this relationship is going to give me the information which patient has an appointment with which doctor in which hospital. Perfectly clear. So all the other stuff, I'm trying to do as much sentence as I want. I don't want to have a full book in it. I know how much work it is to write a book, so don't write a book in it. But just a nice sentence which really is telling you what it is. I really advise you when you do data modeling, at least until the logical level, use business terminology completely on everything and use full sentences on all relationship. Physical, I don't care that much because that's really what's going to be put into your automation tool or your SQL, whatever. That's a different thing. But conceptual, logical, for sure, use it in this one. How do we go there? Well, one, of course, read my book. The other thing is we are using that structured, guided methodology to go to that logical model. It truly is business-driven over source-driven. I don't care about sources. And a very simple reason why I don't care about source systems is that source systems change over time. Source systems are only exist on their own to support a single business process, basically. Business is going over more than one source, it's using and stuff. Business are staying longer. Business can explain me what they're doing. A source cannot explain me what it's supposed to support. It is something I call walk the path together. It is something we need to do together, right? It is not only business. It is not only IT. It's both. It also means that we need to have a simple, clear, understandable, usable for all. Yes. John Giles wrote in his book, and I probably will talk about it in July as well. He says, it would be great if both business and IT are learning some kind of Esperanto, some common language to talk. And I had some discussion with him, and I think this is almost the only point where we kind of disagree. I think that it's better that IT is learning to talk the language of the business, or at least understand that part of the business, than have two part of the organization learn both the same language, because it always be a second language of both, and then you can still get your ambiguity sometimes. You still get some confusion. I'd rather have that IT is learning, talk to the business in their language, and if they don't understand something, just say, what do you mean with this term? What do you mean with a prospect? What do you mean with a lease contract? What do you mean with a bad, what, etc. And just have business explain it in a simple, clear way so we can all use it. I never liked documentation. The approach we are having, and it's in I wrote down, is documenting while moving forward. The most fun part is the most documentation being done is done by business. Of course, you need to be agile, flexible, perfect, and find that right balance. I don't want the nitty-gritty details on everything, but I definitely don't want to see a party or arrangement or, the high-level generalized stuff. I love to party, but not in my data model. What is your ensemble logical model? And again, I have time for it. I know that you're all waiting for the AI data modeling stuff, coming to that one as well, at least explaining it. But basically, there are, in the world nowadays, right, we think there are basically 3 different ways of modeling. Third normal form, which has been there a long time after the file systems in the very first computers, somewhere around the 60s, 70s, Boyce and Cott came up and said something about, let's store the data in tables, and let's do it in third normal, in something we now know as third normal form. It's still highly used for operational systems. Later on, we try to use the third normal form, right? Bill Image says, this is a cool way. Now we have tables. Let's try to integrate data, historize data. And he was using third normal form for his warehousing idea. Taking a long time. It's not really applicable, and it doesn't feel very right. I built them, by the way, myself, modeled them. Yeah, not really flexible and agile. Later on, 80s, 90s, Ralph Kimball came up and says, you know what, if I'm listening to people, I hear something, I want to know something, and different angles, star schema, dimensional modeling, this is the way to go. And when I go to the next department, they come up with, I want to measure something different, some other facts, and maybe the same angles, yes or no. So he came up with dimensional modeling, right, fact and dimensions. And he tried to adjust it a little bit by conform dimensions and type 2 dimensions to use dimensional modeling for data warehousing. It wasn't really a tight fit because whenever there's a change coming, it's very hard to work on that one. And then around 2000, there were a couple of people, Dan Linset, one of them, Paul Erickson, another one, Dani Schneider is one, Lars Rumbeck and his team is one. And they come up with, I don't care about operational system. I don't care about reporting perspective. I want to capture the data as is and as agile and flexible as it is. And also I want to be fully auditable and traceable with my data. And that's what ensemble modeling is. And within ensemble modeling pattern, you have data vault, you have focal, hyperagility, anchor, 2G was one before. So there are different ways of modeling, but data vault basically is the leading pattern. And I'm talking about data vault. I'm not going to add version numbers behind it because I don't believe in version numbers. I never heard of third normal form 2.0 or dimensional 2.1. So for me, it's just data vault. Just keep it simple. And what we try to achieve, I hope everybody had the time to eat yet. Otherwise, you might get hungry. We call deconstructed burrito, and basically this is why we do ensemble modeling. We are deconstructing stuff because if this is my burrito, I see a tortilla, I see a lot of ingredients, and someone says, I don't like tomatoes. Could you get the salsa out, please? Over here, probably the chef will throw this one away and just start completely all over again. This is also a burrito because there's tortilla over here. It looks like a plate, but really it's a tortilla, and you see some cheese, some guacamole, some sour cream, some rice, some meat, and some salsa. And if someone says, I don't like tomatoes, could you get rid of tomatoes? You can just take a spoon, get the tomatoes out of it, and you're done. So it's way easier to adjust and to go with what people want or need than when you have everything into one. So this is basically the big difference between, I would say, third norm form and dimensional and everything ensemble. Of course, the most important thing is that if the business tells me a burrito is something on its own, so the burrito exists as a business term, then we need to do this stuff. In Data Vault, in the ensemble, which is located in the warehouse perspective, right? So I'm not talking operational, I'm not talking about data marts, I'm just talking about the warehouse. We say every core business concept, every business term will be an ensemble, which we can categorize event, person, place, thing, completely business driven, business facing, and the business should be able to say, this is how we identify a prospect. This is how we identify that lease contract. This is how we identify that vendor. This is whatever. So they need to tell you what it is and how they know that it is something. It is an employee. It is a pilot. And every single ensemble, because the business term going to be translated to an ensemble, will only contain one hub. This is where we store the identifier, all the satellites where we store context, and all the links where we store the relationship. And links will combine 2, 3, 4, 5 business concepts together. Those are the glue. We have as many as context satellites as we think that is a smart thing to do. I don't believe, and that's also a discussion I had with John Giles and with other people as well, by the way, about source satellites are source oriented, so one source, one satellite. I said, I'm doing warehousing, we're integrating, so I don't think that source oriented satellites are a good starting point. Not saying that you end there, but it's not a good starting point. Because I truly believe in integration in my warehouse. So I try to integrate as much as I can. How do we go there? We need to ask questions. We need to ask questions to the business. We need to get them into a workshop. And I have some ideas written down. How do we get the right people on the table? One thing is, whenever you have a new person in the team, let that person send out the invite for, hey, I want to have a couple of business people from a department together because I'm new here. I want to learn something about your organization. I want to learn something about what we're doing here. Or if you're external, great, because when you're new in there somewhere, just say, hey, I'm new. I've been asked to do some work for your organization. Please tell me, what is the process? What are we doing here from a day-to-day business? What is going on? Be curious. If you are running that workshop, make sure that you're curious. Have some help in capture everything. And this is, by the way, one thing where AI can definitely help. If you're allowed to, not all organizations allow it, do a recording, transcribe it, and there are some very nice tools, which are, I think Firefly is one of them, which are really, really cool in one, making sure that every sentiment is being used, make abstracts. That can also help you to get the right terms out of it. So that will be cool. And if they can help you to get the right terms out of it, transcribe it and then put it into a data modeling, GPT. I happen to have one. It's interesting enough. And that one will get the essence out of it. It will find all your core business concepts. It will be able to say, these are the events, transaction, the person, people, places, things, objects, etc., etc. This is really, I think I need to, I forgot one thing, listen. It really is the important one. Be curious. So the communication part, I think the best workshop I did is where the one I only talked a little bit at the beginning, and I asked a couple of questions, but the rest was all the business people. What also, by the way, helps very, very much, especially when you're working international, bring some nice snacks or cookies from your own region to the table. So when I'm going abroad and when I did something in Denmark and in Australia and UK. What I do, I bring stroopwafels. Everybody loves stroopwafels. Everybody is curious and they're very happy to see them. Normally, I also bring licorice, unless I'm going to the Nordics because they love licorice. I don't want to tease them. But bringing licorice to some countries is very, very interesting, especially the double salty ones. What is a core business concept? That's very important, right? And I'll show you the template later on, don't worry. Core business concept, everything that the organization, the business says, this is important, it should be clear, it should be identifiable. We can count them. And we can count them in the way that how many books do we have? For instance, something like a discount. Can you count discount? How many discount do we have? Well, I can give you a percentage of discount, but I cannot count discount, right? We cannot place them together. So a discount, although it might be very, very important, or revenue, is not a core business concept. It's just, to be honest, plain context, just numbers, right? Because we cannot count them. So core business concept, not metrics or descriptive information. It also definitely not abstract or generalized because we don't do role playing. It should be clear. It should be identifiable. Also, whenever you do a workshop, especially when you do one in person, which, by the way, I love the most, don't have people bring in their laptops. One, they are easily distracted with other emails and other stuff they're doing, which I don't want them. The other thing is, if you're asking something, oh, what's important for you? Oh, let me pop up this report because this is my report. I said, if someone from the business needs to show me a report to tell what his work is about, then I'm talking to the wrong person. Because then I'm talking to someone creating reports and not someone running a business. So we need to be business focused. We need to be understandable for our data warehouse. In the end, what do we model? I'm going to put them up together because I'm looking at the time as well. Business concepts, which are translated into the ensemble, where we store the identifier in the hub. We store all the context history. This is a very important one, I think. All the relevant timelines. If you hear bitemporal or multi-temporal, for me, every timeline is just context describing something. So put them in the satellite and all the relationships. Interestingly enough, identifiers and the way the identifiers are related to each other, hubs and links, are non-changing information. The only thing what is changing is how we look at it, what the context about it, the historical information. So whenever I'm modeling, I only have to take care of, is it something new? Yeah, something new. Okay, cool. Then I'm going to build probably some new hubs, some new links. There's a change coming. We need to change some stuff. There's more information coming. Okay, that's probably just doing something on the satellite. It's way easier to work with than with dimensional or third normal form. And I know there are a lot of discussions about if data vault is not working, it's not correct. I can almost guarantee you, and I challenge you to give me the information. It's very hard to get the data out, or it's very hard for data vault to understand what it is. I'm happy to spend some time, limited amount of time, or unless you're paying, then I spend a lot of time to help you because I'm very, very sure that your model is not well thought of, it's not business driven. But that's my thing. Simple business case. This is what we want, right? A simple business case. We want to translate this one into a logical model, which is understood by everybody. And of course, you already said, Remco, you're missing something because you didn't describe the relationship. Yes, that's true. I didn't change this picture. But basically what I'm saying, a sale needs to be placed in a store. There should be a customer and employee involved. That's what different saying. And every sale, I have one or more products. Well, and I need to know from every single product on the sale, what's about it, why we have that line item product and sale. Just a simple basic model. The Elm approach, and again, this is, I would say, almost an example out of my book. This is what it's all about. It starts over here, finding all the core business concept. Dear business, tell me, what are you doing? Well, we have customers, we sell products in our store with employee. Oh, someone calls them Kunt. There's a Kunt, and they can get coffee and books. Oh, you know that client. We talk to suppliers and deliver, and they can comment. All the kind of fun stuff. I'm writing it down. We categorize as business. We can just say, let's put them into a canvas, just putting them more nicely together to understand per swim lane, per bucket. Do we see synonyms or yes or no, the same stuff? And for instance, I see that I have a customer, a client, and a Kunt. Some says, yeah, a customer and a client, that's just the same. Okay, let's take, and this is number 3, this is my business glossary part, CBC form. I have a customer, we identify it as being a person. What is the small definition? I don't need master data management definition, but the small definition, what is a customer? And someone says, or they were in the workshop, a natural person who's buying products, could be books or coffee in our store. We know who our customers is because they all use a loyalty card. In other words, if you don't use a loyalty card, you are not a customer. You're something different. And it could be that in the workshop said, that's the same definition I would use if I need to describe a Kunt or a client. Okay, these are the synonyms. Give me your main information, okay, name and address. Where do we find them? Well, sales and CRM. How do we identify them? Well, loyalty card number, but we are running internationally and every country has their own loyalty card number. So loyalty card number 228 is available in every single country, but it's not the same customer. So we need to add country name to it. The customer is related to a store, product, employee, has to do with sales and delivery from an event perspective. Cool. This whole part on the top, I would say the must-haves, this is normally homework I give to the business. And the fun thing is they're doing it. So the biggest part of the documentation is already been done. Down over here is the more where I do look at sources. Okay, what kind of context do I have to attach to a customer, a Kunt, or a client? And just writing them down. But this is basically my business glossary part. I would definitely look into tools like Ellie, which are doing a great job on the business glossary part, but there are more tools like that, DataSpot, a little bit more technical, but can do the same stuff. Definitely look into it. My tool is just an Excel. Very simple. I have an Excel template, which you can download, which you can use on elmstandards.com. Perfectly fine. It's also, by the way, part of the book where QR code, all the fun stuff. Now the hardest part in modeling, and it's almost hardest part. The hardest part to get the right people on the table and start discussing. Then the part is, how are things related to each other? And those of you who did modeling, I don't care about data vault, dimensional, or thermal form, relationships are always hard. We came up with something. We know that all relationships are coming out of events or transactions. Something is happening, right? When there's an event, when something is happening, we have a relationship. So that's why events are so damn important for us. What we do, we have our event canvas and event and MBR canvas. We say, we have an event, a sales event. What are the business concepts which are really truly belonging to the sales event? In other words, whenever the sale occurs, what relationships are going to be there with that sale? Well, there's an employee because an employee is helping out on the sale. It's taking place in a store. Someone is buying products and that someone is their customer. So we now say, for every single sales event, I need to have employee, customer, store, product. How does it work on our modeling perspective? We can say, forget about this one for a moment. We can just say, right, I'm the one in the middle. Let's look at that sales event, employee, customer, store, product. Cool. They all need to be there together. They form the one relationship. But you're not done yet. Because now we have to look into, are we on the right grain or cardinality? And again, I'm still doing this with business people. I'm not going to ask, oh, we need to find the right grain or cardinality. What I'm going to say, if I'm looking at this relationship in the middle, right, I see that I have 5 other business terms related together. Let's look at this one. Let's look what's happening. Let's find some example records. And this is maybe a little bit I nicked from Lawrence Core's idea about using, and also, by the way, from SOEM, using example records. And we can just say, this one event relationship, right? All the 5, sale, customer, store, employee, product. Let's give an example. Well, sale 501 is Remco in Utrecht by Hans. He bought Moby Dick, a newspaper, coffee, and hitchhiker. You can see that for every single product, I'm going to repeat that Remco was the customer, the store is Utrecht, and the employee was Hans. So what I now need to do is to say, I don't like redundancy that much. I can say, what if I'm taking the redundant part out? 501 Remco, Utrecht, Hans, and have the detail one, that part which is causing redundancy, separate. Cool. 501, Moby Dick, etc. This one is a little bit specific. It's a line item. I don't care if you don't put it over here. It's coming in automatically from your sales system, probably because you have your sale lines. It's just an extra entity. Don't worry about it for now. So now I have the 2 relationship, right? 1 sale, 1 store, 1 customer, 1 employee. 1 sale, I have many products. And of course, 1 product can be in many sales. There's a many-to-many relationship. I need to resolve that one because I want to know something for each product on the sale. I don't, although Data Vault technically and Anchor and Focal technically can handle many-to-many relationship, to describe, we don't want to. In third normal form, we can't. What do? We are creating an associated entity. That's where the line item's coming on. We do the same in Data Vault. We can say, for every single product on the sale, there's 1 entry in my product on sale line item. Now I can describe everything on a detail level. Again, this is still what I'm doing with business people, not in workshop 1, but in workshop 2 or 3. This is my kind of, this last artifact I'm going to do now is the MBR matrix. This is kind of what I'm using as a handover to the people building the data marts, because this is just a combination, just crossing the boxes, right? It's just a simple diagram to say, sale product to customer, probably going to be fact table. I need to have fact table. Well, the sale will be in. These are going to be my dimensions. They are all related to each other. For delivery of goods, I need to have a customer, the delivery itself, a parcel company. And I just got a message yesterday, Remco, you're off on your example because they need to deliver products or the complete order. This is the whole process. Finding the business terms, looking if you have synonyms, yes or no, describe them, right? Get the definition going. That's the first part, that basically workshop 1 plus a little bit of homework. Then we're going to say, let's take 1 event, let's go from there, what's coming together, fill in some example records, and relate this one. It's fun, but it can be more fun. So what I'm going to do, apart from taking a sip of water, I'm going to introduce you to something about AI, at least a ChatGPT version. I introduced myself. I asked AI, ChatGPT, what are you? It says, well, I am ChatGPT. I'm from OpenAI, still non-profit, cool. And it says, I am a generative pre-trained model and I make use of a large language model. I am assisting, and I think assisting is the most important word over here, with answering questions, explaining concepts, providing recommendations, and engaging in interesting conversations. Cool. But I thought, you know what? I can use this. At the same token, I was kind of scared. So, because if I'm looking at saying, okay, you know what? if the box, and I asked ChatGPT to draw this picture, I said, imagine that you are one big box and give me a colored dot representing your the data modeling topics. Basically, I said, I want to have dots in it, and I said 0.5% or 0.05% is about data modeling. I just came up with a number. And this is what I draw, and I think it doesn't look very nice, so I asked a little bit better to say, not always working, do a little bit better. I want all the dots in, I want less dots, whatever. It didn't want to change whatever. So I think it's still a wrong impression. By the way, this picture is done before the latest iteration. I probably think it's doing way better now because it's going crazy fast. But what is the issue? Well, LLMs, where all the AI is based upon, basically lacks creativity. If you go to make it very, very simple, it is just a whole bunch of business rules and stuff, if this, then that, and decision trees. The whole stuff is trying to find, basically in wording, what will be the next step. It is all based upon information it knows. And creativity is more or less thinking outside the box. And that is where it's a hard thing. Although some people say hallucination, which LLMs are doing, is creativity. I think it just took a wrong turn. I think data modeling on itself is art. It's not hard knowledge. If you're asking me to create a data model out of a given business case, and I'm asking Christian to do one, I'm asking Dirk Lerner, I'm asking Shane Gibson, John Giles, Hans Hultgren, we come up with different models. We have a different focus and we can discuss it. And then we come up with a stronger model. But it's art, right? It's discussion. We need to do something. Another thing I think about LLM, think about it. There is a lot of information about data modeling found on the internet, and all the LLMs are based on data coming out of the internet and libraries, etc. But there's a whole bunch of information to be found. Again, I'm a data vault guy. If I'm looking at data vault, how many topics on LinkedIn, even the last, let's say, couple of weeks are coming, and how many are contra each other, right? They're finding each other. You should do this. No, you should do this. And they're kind of contradictory with each other. How the hell? Because we as people can understand the information and think, yeah, you know what, this one is more trolling or is not applicable in my way of thinking. It should be the other one. But an LLM doesn't think. There is no thinking in LLMs, although some people think they are, but they are mimicking at the best. Also, there are multiple data modeling patterns. If you're asking just on ChatGPT or Perplexity or Copilot or whatever, they know there's certain form. They know there's dimensional, there's data vault, there are different dialects or version numbers, whatever you want to between the patterns. How do you know what kind of model do you want? It's also outdated because modeling patterns are still evolving. I don't think this is true anymore, by the way. It was always, everything up till last year. I think they're improving. Again, AI is improving fast. But for me, the most important one is this one. How could you ask anyone or anything to create a data model without giving guidelines? In other words, I think we need to give guidelines to our AI. I know that's what we have. So going direct to the last one. Interestingly enough, this one I asked ChatGPT to create me a picture with a toddler robot, and I want to be on the bowling alley, and there should be no pins, and they should aim at post-its. This is what until I think February this year was the response it got. If you ask it now, it will definitely replace all the pins with post-its, because now it understands you ask something which is not in my database, because apparently all bowling alleys need to have pins and you need to throw a ball at the pin. And the post-its are just, you know what, I'll just put them on the ground, whatever. It now understands exactly what you're asking for. So it's doing a way better job. It's still doing a stupid job on writing down text. Probably within a couple of months, it will be done as well. I'm looking at time. I'm going to skip this one. What I did, and again, I'll put it in the slide which we're going to share. I asked AI to say, give me information about this box of salmiakki. And it gives me a whole bunch of text and information, which is all true, but not specifically what I want to ask for. But it's interesting. From a human perspective, if I would ask any one of you in the data modeling world to say, this is an example of a product we are selling. Could you describe it? You'll probably come up with what I did as well, right? I see an identifier, the barcode. I see some context, the amount, what's the ingredients, all that kind of stuff. So we're already looking from a data perspective. This is important from a data perspective for this box. At the same token, AI gives you way more information and references. That might be interesting as well. So I think we need to do both things. What we model, core business concept, right? At least from our perspective, context, history, and natural business relationships. What I did, I said, if this is what I want, let's ask ChatGPT. And again, this is something I did earlier, end of last year, to say, let's model a business case AI style. I said, I have a grooming business, just very simple, a business running in Stockholm. What they do, they make an appointment, and a dog's being brought, dog's being groomed. Later on, the dog's being picked up and they're being paid. Very simple. So I gave the business case to ChatGPT that give me a data model, and this is the one I got. Very basic model. And I said, oh, by the way, I said I want to have a visual and I want to have the names in it. It just gives me some kind of an ER diagram to say I have an appointment and the dog has an appointment. The owner, the appointment being made by the owner has a dog, groom specialist. Very, very simple. I said, you know what? I'm going to add some information to it. I said, could you create a dimensional model for it? Sure. Right, fact, dim date, dim owner, it's using RISE terminology. I had a kind of an issue with the dim payment. I said, is that a dimension? I would say if I would do it as a human, my item point, I would say, I just effect appointment and the payment is just one of the attributes in my effect appointment, right? And all the other stuff, I'm fine, I can leave them. So this is my part. And then I asked, could you create a data vault model? Again, I'm a data vault guy, so I want to have the data vault model. Sure. And I need to say, the only thing I changed on the original output said, or redo it, it said, could you put the text in white boxes on all, everything was being done. But it picks the right colors, blue, yellow, and green, right? Blue for the hubs, the identifiers, green for the links, the relationships, and yellow for the context. But the only thing what it more or less looked like, this is close to the ER diagram. The only thing what it did is basically said almost every single circle I have in my ER diagram, I'm going to break this one into two, right, for a hub and a satellite, and all the lines are going to be relationships. Okay, cool, fine. But then I was thinking, okay, how do I want to see it? So I applied my own logic and my own approach. Say, how would I model this one? I said, well, first I'm going to see what are my business concepts. Well, next one is what are my categories? Next step is, okay, how are they related to each other, right? That's the event canvas. And then I come up with something like this. drop-off, grooming relationship, which was not in the other one. There's an ownership one, pick up and pay, assisting. I'm not saying that this is the final result. I can come up with a couple of other solutions, but this is basically what I need to do. How do I come to this information? What I said, I'm using the Elm approach, the templates. So I was thinking, what if I tell ChatGPT to use the same approach? Okay, let's improve that one. And I called it introduce bias. Bias is wrong, for sure, but sometimes bias is good. I see bias, right, to say, this is the way you work. Basically, what I told him, I said, this is the approach, my starting point, and this is the very, very simple version of it. I said, I want you to help discover my core business concept. This is what a core business concept is. Everything that's important for the organization can be uniquely identified, blah, 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 their definition. And we categorize them in events, verbs and nouns or verb, like sales. And basically, this is really truly what I put into it and said, if this is true, what are the core business concepts in the following case, provide the definition of each of them and give them a correct category. And then I wrote down the business case. Very simple. This is really a starting point. I worked on this one and I came better and better. And this is ChatGPT stuff. What I did now is this is also an older version, but I have standard bias. So I created my own GPT just for us. By the way, I'll provide the link. Don't worry on that one. It's a very simple one. There are some instructions. What you can do is say, please provide me a business case, put in the business case, and it has knowledge. And the knowledge is basically, there's a training set, there's a modeling guide. This is how a link, an ensemble, and satellite looks like. It used to be the ELM and artifacts guide, but nowadays it's my book. My book is in, telling me this is what you need to do. And the fun thing is, it is really doing a great job, but it's still assisting. It won't provide you, that's why I didn't show you that one. It won't provide you a visual model. I think that I think I can do it in the end, but it's taking me too much time, and I'm already helped by just saying these are the business concepts. This is the definition of a business concept. It's categorized as an event, a person, place. So I can draw my own boxes if I need to. It also gives me the information about how relationships are working. Only step one, I still need to fill in the example records. But again, for me, the data modeling GPT is just an assistant. It's me to help me to go further. So what I learned a lot. I was there thinking about, let's do an LLM and have third normal form, dimensional, and data vault in. Now I think this is not a good idea. Just like when you're using agents, right? Agents are very good in doing one small task. And you can have agents working together. I think from a modeling perspective, I think you should have one for third normal form, you should have one for dimensional, you should have one for data vault, or maybe Elm, and they need to work together in the end, maybe. So don't provide too much knowledge. So make it work. Training sets are very, very, very important. Have training sets, and it's for me, it's kind of a RAG system, right? So I'm giving it information. I'm using the generic one. Also, I said treat your own LLM as a junior data modeler. It's your own toddler or your own intern, right? It needs to have small steps. Just like an intern, when you have an intern at work, you're probably going to say, I want you to do this, 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 and this. And after you did it, give me back the information because I need to be in control. And after that, I'm giving feedback. And then I'm giving more small steps. So I'm going to give it small steps. I will be in control and I will give it feedback. Forget this one, don't worry. What I'm having right now in my LLM right? My GPT. And again, I'm going to make sure that the link is going to be shared with you guys. It will give you the CVC list. It will give you the definition of the CVC form, basically, the event canvas, and other MBRs it does. It does not give you the full CVC form, MBR form, and MBR matrix. Why not? I didn't have the time to work on it. I have too much other fun stuff to do. One of the things I needed to do was writing the book. I can already tell you, I said to my wife when I was finishing my book, I said, I'm never going to write another book. And to my shame, I think I'm writing 2 more at the moment. So there will be more books coming, which is only fun because then I can have Christians asking me to say, do another book presentation or more book presentation. Some links, some information. Again, I'm a trainer. I'm doing most of my work is training and coaching, consulting. So please reach out to me if you need to have training. We do Dataful training, business mapping and Elm, and what I talked to you about is the business mapping and Elm training. This is the website where you can find not the GPT, but you can find the templates, easy to download. Again, the templates are also found in my book, and also there's a QR code to a folder which gives you all the templates for free, all the colored books, of all the colored visuals, and also the examples from the book. If you know, by the way, the Wittibald case by the German-speaking Dataful user group, DDVUG, one chapter in my book is all about the DDVUG example of Wittibald. I have Michael Muller as my favorite business person, I would say, always say in the world, but he was my business person helping me out to get there where I'm going. And with that in mind, I think I spent 5 minutes over the hour I got from you, Christian.